on judicial activism? We are seeing so much of it now, sometimes probably too much of it.
See, judicial activism, then your public interest litigation, all started with good intentions.
Yes.
And like so many things that start with good intentions, they degenerate into something else. Judicial activism was necessary. In fact, I have gone on record, I have written an article about it. I have my own views on that, very strong views. In the days in which it was a question of survival of the system itself, like for example, when they invented this theory of basic structure of the constitution, without that, a brute majority could overturn the constitution, turn the democracy into a dictatorship or an oligarchy. Therefore, it was necessary somewhere to put a check. But then I am not in favor of judicial activism in the sense that you weaken the parliament, you don't give it due respect that you have. As a result of which, there is always some kind of carping by the legislators, judiciary criticizing them, the legislators criticizing them, and the executive also jumping on the bandwagon of the legislatures. That doesn't really help anybody. I believe that the task of each of these constitutional organs is cut out. Maybe a little overstepping the roles is permissible, but then you just cannot go and do somebody else's job. That is certainly not the. In fact, I always give this example and say, people appreciate a good game of cricket. You appreciate Gavaskar or Sachin Tendulkar. Now, the umpire is there to make sure that the game goes on according to the rules. Umpire cannot at one stage say, this chap is not playing good cricket, let me take up the bat and show him how to play the cricket. It's exactly what the judges are doing now. So I'm not in favor of this kind of activism.
Again, sir, what's the solution? Because
solution is strengthen the democracy, strengthen you elect people's. Of course, it's always said that you get the government that you deserve.
but then what's the option? Even if when you're saying that, elect a strong government, where is the option? You either have somebody who's a thief or you have somebody who's a robber. So
why do you elect a thief?
because the other option is the robber.
Why can't Vidya Raja stand for election? I will vote for her. I personally think that one should, maybe I'm too much steeped in religious thoughts. Too much of philosophy has affected my thinking. I believe that it is your job to do your duty and do it honestly. If every citizen that, why should there be any difficulty? There should be any conflict at all. I did my job as a judge. Close to almost, 16, 17 years I did that. I'm happy. Yes, occasional forays across the borderline is all right. That is tolerable. Because you cannot, when you are doing an exercise of rendering justice, overstepping the line is fine, a little bit. Beyond that, you're not going to overstep your function itself.
Yes.
Because after all, we still believe in this kind of separation of powers. Otherwise, why can't we have one Lokpal having the judicial, legislative, executive function?
Which is like a dictator.
Yeah, it's not possible because all such constitutions will ultimately degenerate into a dictatorship. And all good things with too much of accolade have a tendency to degenerate into dictatorship. For example, Hitler came into power, the Nazi party came into power because they promised good things to people in Germany who were fed up with what was happening till then.
Yes.
They were voted into power constitutionally, don't forget that. He became Chancellor of the Wehrmacht. Then what happened? History tells you what happened. I don't want that to happen to my judiciary.
Absolutely. What about right to protest, sir? It's been taken, different people have different interpretations.
See, right to protest is probably an inalienable right of part of freedom of speech. But then I don't understand this. You want to protest by all means. Why on earth should you stop the traffic on the roads? Why on earth should you make so much of noise pollution? Why on earth should you make traffic chaos? You protest. But you should not, in your right to protest, forget that I have a right to carry on with my own work. carry on with my normal daily affairs, your right to protest should not interfere into my right to carry on my life.
But is this because if this sort of protest does not happen, the government will not take notice? There are protests happening everywhere, but unless it's of this magnitude, the government is not going to say, okay, this is something that we need to look at on an immediate basis. Is that probably one of the
Possibly,
reasons?
you are right. That may be, see, both this judicial overactivism, this kind of mass protests, are because action is not taken promptly on issues that need to be looked into urgently. Possibly. That's one way of excusing them, I suppose. Though both are wrong according to me.